The Galactic Empire sat at the pinnacle of interstellar dominance, an unassailable force that spanned thousands of systems. Its citizens were taught from birth to believe in their inherent superiority over other species, a narrative reinforced by centuries of conquest. To the Empire, all other species existed in a hierarchy of utility and weakness. Humans, by their assessment, were firmly at the bottom. Admiral Zalvar leaned back in his ornate chair, his scaled hands drumming against the smooth surface of the council table. Humans, he began with a sneer, are a curious anomaly. A primitive species, content to cling to their isolated little planet, posturing about diplomacy while avoiding any meaningful participation in galactic affairs. Laughter rippled through the room, echoing off the crystalline walls. Perhaps they know their limits, suggested Minister Calther. They lack our advancements, our discipline. The one attempt they made to send envoys to our borders? Pathetic. Their vessels could barely keep pace with a standard patrol fleet. If it weren't for our leniency, they would have been obliterated. Another counselor, one of the younger members, raised a cautious voice. And yet, they've survived. Against planetary calamities, internal wars, and even minor incursions from other species, they endure. Surely that resilience counts for something. Admiral Zalvar's eyes narrowed. Resilience is a euphemism for stubborn ignorance. They survive because they lack the ambition to challenge us. Let them scurry about their rock and tell themselves they're significant. They are harmless at best. The discussion shifted, with the Council deciding to escalate their peacekeeping missions near Earth. The Empire saw it as a test, a chance to provoke and observe. If humanity responded with aggression, it would justify an invasion. If they remained passive, it would confirm their cowardice. Either way, the Empire would solidify its dominance. Across the galaxy, news of humanity's status as cowards spread. Other species whispered among themselves, some sympathetic to humanity's plight, others mocking their perceived weakness. The Empire's broadcasts described humans as a relic of an evolutionary fluke, and these words became the foundation of interstellar jokes. Despite these provocations, humanity remained silent. Imperial ships skirted Earth's outer defenses, occasionally firing warning shots or transmitting taunts. No response came. The Empire grew bolder, sending a larger fleet to the solar system's edge. Still, Earth remained quiet, its surface an undisturbed sphere against the black void. In private, Admiral Zalvar mused to his subordinates, "They don't even have the spine to defend themselves. What better proof do we need of their inferiority? Perhaps it's time to make an example of their planet." The Empire failed to notice the subtle changes in Earth's broadcasts, the faint signals that hinted at preparations beneath the surface. Their arrogance blinded them to the quiet, calculating nature of humanity's patience. They saw silence as weakness, hesitation as fear. And so, the Empire continued, convinced of its narrative, oblivious to the storm humanity was preparing. On Earth, the Empire's provocations weren't met with ignorance or cowardice, they were met with calculation. In underground bunkers and fortified command centers, humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades. While the Empire dismissed Earth as a backwater, humanity had been watching, listening, and learning. Every insult, every minor incursion, every broadcast dripping with imperial arrogance had been carefully recorded and analyzed. The decision not to respond wasn't out of fear but out of strategy. Earth knew that reacting too soon would only expose their hand. The American Nightmare was humanity's answer, a name chosen not for bravado but for effect. The task force was designed to be the embodiment of terror, blending Earth's most advanced technologies with tactics drawn from centuries of warfare. Its members weren't just soldiers, they were specialists, engineers, hackers, pilots, and tacticians, each trained to exploit the weaknesses of a superior enemy. Captain Adrian Kane stood at the head of the initiative. A decorated veteran of Earth's last great conflict, Kane was a leader forged in fire, known for his unorthodox methods and an uncanny ability to anticipate his enemy's moves. "They call us cowards," Kane said during a closed briefing to his team. His voice was steady, but his words carried weight. "Let them. It's the last mistake they'll make." The Nightmare was outfitted with technology that would be unrecognizable to the Empire. Stealth systems capable of rendering entire fleets invisible to scanners. AI-driven drones that operated independently in hostile environments. Weapons that didn't just destroy but disoriented, confused, and demoralized. Every piece of equipment was designed to maximize the psychological impact on an enemy accustomed to overwhelming superiority. Preparation extended beyond weapons. Psychological warfare was a cornerstone of the Nightmare's strategy. The team studied the Empire's culture, language, and history, identifying fears they could exploit. Symbols of strength were inverted, messages were crafted to sow doubt, and tactics were refined to dismantle not just the Empire's fleets but their confidence. "This isn't about meeting them head-on," Kane explained. "That's what they expect, and that's how they win. We'll fight them the way we've always fought impossible wars, by being smarter, faster, and more ruthless than they ever imagined." The task force operated in total secrecy. Even Earth's general population knew little beyond whispers and speculation. The planet appeared to be unprepared and defenseless, a deliberate facade to lure the Empire into overconfidence. Meanwhile, the Nightmare trained relentlessly, rehearsing scenarios and refining strategies. As the Empire's fleets loomed on the edge of the solar system, Earth's leaders sent a single encrypted message: "We invite you to test us." The message was brief, cryptic, and entirely human in its confidence. For the first time, the Empire hesitated. The Nightmare stood ready. Hidden beneath Earth's surface, within orbital stations disguised as derelict debris, and in the void between planets, they waited. The Empire thought they understood humanity. They were wrong. The Imperial fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system with precision and arrogance. Hundreds of ships, their hulls gleaming with alien alloys, moved in synchronized formation. Commanders aboard the flagship dismissed Earth's silence as submission, the humans too afraid to mount a defense. It was exactly what the Empire expected. As the fleet advanced, faint signals began to flicker on their sensors. At first, it seemed like random interference, an unremarkable glitch caused by the human planet's primitive technology. But then came the first strike. A small scout ship on the fleet's edge suddenly vanished from their formation. No explosion, no debris, just silence. Confused, the fleet's commanders issued orders to recalibrate their scanners, assuming a malfunction. Another ship disappeared. And another. Panic rippled through the lower ranks as officers demanded answers. The flagship's admiral, convinced it was a technical issue, ordered a full halt to regroup. The pause was their first mistake. From the darkness of space, the American Nightmare revealed itself, not with fanfare, but with precision. The first wave of strikes wasn't aimed at destroying ships but dismantling the fleet's cohesion. Communications were disrupted by a cascade of artificial signals. Targeting systems failed as human-crafted EMP pulses fried imperial circuits. Drones, nearly invisible to the naked eye, swarmed the fleet's underbelly, planting charges on key systems. The Empire's fleet, accustomed to overwhelming its enemies with brute force, was unprepared for such surgical precision. The human craft were smaller, faster, and maddeningly elusive. Every time an Imperial ship locked onto a target, it disappeared into the void, only to reappear moments later to strike from an unexpected angle. Amid the chaos, the Nightmare's psychological tactics came into play. Imperial ships began receiving strange transmissions, eerie, distorted voices speaking in their native tongue. The messages were simple: "You should have stayed away." Some crews, already shaken, abandoned their posts in fear. Others turned on each other, suspecting sabotage from within. Captain Kane's voice cut through the encrypted Nightmare channels. Calm and focused, he directed his team with the precision of a conductor leading an orchestra. Focus on their leaders. Take out their command structure first. Leave the grunts in the dark. His orders were followed to the letter. The flagship, once a symbol of Imperial dominance, became the Nightmare's primary target. Its shields flickered under the onslaught of coordinated strikes. Human stealth craft darted in and out of the fleet's defensive perimeter, striking key systems before retreating into the blackness. The flagship's admiral, once so confident, now barked desperate orders, his voice trembling as his fleet crumbled around him. But the Nightmare didn't destroy the entire fleet. A calculated decision was made to let some ships escape, their crews carrying tales of terror back to the Empire. The survivors would spread the message: humanity wasn't weak. They weren't cowards. They were a force the Empire couldn't comprehend, and one they would soon fear above all else. The battle ended not with victory fanfare but with silence. A deliberate, chilling silence that left the remnants of the Empire's fleet retreating in disarray. The survivors of the battle stumbled back into imperial space, their ships battered and their spirits broken. Their once pristine fleet now resembled a graveyard of smoking wreckage. What little remained of their command structure was in shambles, their leaders too shaken to provide a coherent debrief. Tales of the engagement spread quickly, whispered in hushed tones among the crews and then into the wider reaches of the Empire. "They came out of nowhere," one officer muttered, his hands trembling as he recounted the attack. "They didn't fight like anyone we've faced before. They didn't fight like they wanted to win. They fought like they wanted us to suffer." In the Imperial Council chambers, the mood was tense. The return of the fleet, or what was left of it, had shattered the illusion of invincibility the Empire had long maintained. Reports were scattered, but one detail was consistent. Humanity wasn't the weak, primitive species they had dismissed. Admiral Zalvar sat in stunned silence as the reports played out. His confidence, once unshakable, was now replaced with doubt. "This isn't possible," he muttered to himself, but the evidence was undeniable. Humanity had inflicted a devastating blow to one of the Empire's most advanced fleets, and they had done so with precision and purpose. A broadcast interrupted the council meeting, cutting across all Imperial channels. The screen flickered, and for a moment, there was only static. Then, the face of Captain Adrian Kane appeared, his expression cold and unyielding. "This is Captain Kane, speaking on behalf of Earth," he began, his voice steady and calm. "For centuries, you've ruled through fear and arrogance. You've dismissed us as insignificant, as cowards. That ends today." The council listened in stunned silence as Kane continued. "We didn't respond to your provocations because we wanted peace. We didn't strike back because we valued diplomacy. But make no mistake, we are not cowards. And if you ever bring your fleets to our world again, you will learn what true fear is." The broadcast ended as abruptly as it began, leaving the Empire's leaders in silence. The words hung heavy in the air, a challenge they were unprepared to meet. The council erupted into chaos, some calling for immediate retaliation, others demanding caution. The memory of the nightmare's precision and ruthlessness loomed over every decision. In the days that followed, the Empire pulled back its forces from the outer reaches near Earth. Officially, it was called a reassessment of priorities, but among the ranks, the truth was clear: they feared a second encounter with humanity. Across the galaxy, the story spread. The weak, insignificant humans had stood against the Empire and sent them retreating. They were no longer seen as a harmless backwater species, but as a force capable of defying even the greatest power in the galaxy. On Earth, the nightmare returned to the shadows, readying itself for the next challenge. Humanity had proven its strength, but they knew the Empire's pride wouldn't allow them to forget this humiliation. The message had been sent, and the galaxy would never see humans the same way again.